more. So break the posture, force his hands to the mat, grab the collar. I need to escape my hips a little bit if you're having problems getting deep with the overhook. So we can just turn our hips and do a little bit of a shrimp. Then I overhook, grab the collar. Now once I grab the collar and he goes to post on me, I grab his wrist and force it in. Now he's not just going to stay here usually, so when he starts to try and regain his posture, I open my legs and lock. Now from here, I just want to make sure that my ankles are crossed, but it is better to have the one nearest to his neck underneath, because that's the side we're going to lock the triangle on. Now once I'm here, I don't want to start locking up the triangle yet. I'm going to extend my hips up and away. This is going to create my body into a straight line, so it's easy for me to pull his arm across, which is very important. Okay? If I leave his arm here, it's going to be hard for me to finish the choke. If I start to pull down on the head, I need to lift up and then pull the arm across. That way, if he tries to hug my body here, I'm not going to be able to pull it like this, but if I sit up, I can underhook his arm and pull it across. So you have to get the arm across his neck, no matter the cost. It's very important. So at this point, our legs are still just in a diamond here. But once I cross his arm here, it's going to create like a smaller zone for me to lock my legs up and over, okay? So now I'm going to grab the back of his head, and I'm going to open the diamond. And I'm going to put my left foot in his hip, okay? The left foot is in his hip, and this leg is going to lock down as I turn my body. I pinch it down really tight. Once I pinch it down, I'm going to grab my ankle and hold it in. So now if he tries to pull his head out, he's not going to be able to go anywhere because I've created this cinch down around his head and his arm. And my body here is blocking it from being able to pull his arm back across. So now my thigh here, my hamstring, is choking on this side of the neck, and his bicep is pushing into the other side of his neck. So both sides are being pushed like this to create the choke, okay? Now here, this is where people start to run into problems because they may not be able to lock their legs up all the way. And you might find that your toes get locked underneath your calf like this. You need to try and avoid that because you don't want to try and finish triangle chokes with your toes locked under your calf. So when that happens, we need to make sure we do everything we can to get the angle right. So when I put my foot on his hip and I pinch down, I want to make sure I turn my body from parallel. My spine is parallel to him here. I go perpendicular, almost 90 degrees, as far as you can go, all the while holding onto our shin. Okay? Then from here, I point my toes up. Okay? If I point my toes down and I try and lock over my foot, it's just going to go over my own foot and it can hurt your foot and it's just going to slide off. So you point your toes up, and I throw my leg over my pointed toes. You see now my foot locks my leg in there. Okay? Now it's tight. If you're still having problems, you need to force it high up over his head so his shoulder is out of the equation. So I lock it over his shoulder, it's just his head and his arm in here. You can make the mistake of trying to lock it over his shoulder and you may not be able to get it if your legs aren't long enough. That's why it's really important to grab your shin, shrimp and turn perpendicular, lock it down over his head and open my leg so now it's just his head and his arm. Then from here, make sure his arm is still across. The more we continue turning, the tighter it's going to be. You can underhook his arm to do that, or you can underhook his leg if his leg is up. But then from here, we're just going to grab the back of his head and pull down as we pinch our knees together. Our knees pinch together like I'm trying to open my legs like this, but they stay locked and I pinch, I grab the head, and I pull down. So I've created like a V shape with his arm and my thigh, and I'm pulling his neck down into the V shape. That's what makes it tight. Okay? Again. Breaks the posture. Grab the collar so he can't pull back up right away. Scoop my hips. Get the overhook. Pass the grip. And from here, if he doesn't put his hand on our chest, we just grab his wrist and push it away. And bring our toes through. Okay? Just like this. It's just another option. If you're having trouble like that, you're just going to grab the wrist and force it in anyways. But you do have the other option. If he tries to hide his hand away, you can put your foot through. Always toes first, because I can't bring anything else through first. I have to point my toes through first, and then get to my diamond here. Once I have the diamond, I squeeze my knees together. We call it a diamond because look, here it makes a diamond with our legs, okay? So we're trying to get to that first. Get to our diamond position. Arch my hips up, make my back straight. Grab the wrist and pull the arm across. Control the head, foot goes on the hip, grab our shin and turn it and lock it down behind his head. And then turn my body. You can underhook the arm if we need to turn even more. Point your toes, lock the triangle up, and then pull down on the head. If for any reason it's still not tight, you want to make sure that these toes are pointed up as well. Okay? Both our toes are pointed up. Because if my toes are pointed up, it's going to flex my calf. If I point my toes down, my calf's going to be soft. It's not going to push into his head as hard. So if I point my toes up with both sides, both my calves flex, and it tightens the lock around his neck and his arm, okay? Then pull down the head. Okay, any questions? So when you do the full motion, it'll look like this. Okay, and the other option is to be here. If he hides his hand far away, you go here or here, and I bring my toes through. If my toes come through, my whole leg comes over, and we lock the diamond. Okay, any questions? Let's try.